Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck Movies. My name is John and this video is going to be an unboxing of the 4K of Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD. And also stick around to the end, I've got some things here I've been meaning to show off on the channel. This is, believe it or not, the entire 1975 Weetabix cards of Doctor Who, and this is the 1977 Weetabix cards of Doctor Who. So stick around to the end and I'll show you them ones. These are all original ones, the ones I got from back in the day when they were released. So I've always wanted to show them off on this channel, and this is the perfect opportunity. So first let's get into the unboxing. So let's unbox it. Seagulls. There's really no need for that, is there? Just there, talk amongst yourselves. Deep joy. Look at that. Daleks Invasion of Earth. Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD. That's just around the corner, isn't it? Let's just do a corner check. Let's do a light check to see what's going on here, because this has been probably around the world. Yeah, that's looking in great condition. Also, I'll be leaving a link in the description down to my other unboxing of the first Doctor Who movie that was released on 4K. This was released there last month and it's absolutely amazing. So if you want to see what's inside this one, I'll leave a link to this video down below. So this movie came out in 1966, the first one came out in 1965. They were going to make more, but the fact is that this one just didn't perform at the box office, so you know what happens there. I think these two movies here are really enjoyable. So let's see what's inside this box. These boxes here are nice. So inside the box it says, "We'll have to bypass Watford. The place is full of Daleks." How many times have you heard that? Right? So this is just an amazing box. All the points have been covered on here. This spot gloss on here is absolutely amazing, as it is with the other one as well. So inside, first of all, you do get the discs, which are housed in this like booklet. You've got your two discs there, you've got your 4K there, and you've got your Blu-ray. Now underneath you have, that's the art underneath. That's the booklet there. That tells you all about what the specs are on this movie. So the 4K, of course, is region free, but the Blu-ray is locked to region B there, so be aware of that. Next up you have a collectible mini book. Now I think that there's a big book version of this, and this is kind of like a little taster or teaser to this, but I don't know if I collect big books anymore. I think it's a thing it's just not my thing anymore. I've got the space for it, that's the main thing. And when it gets around to reading stuff, I don't really have the time to read stuff, if I'm honest. But this, I love looking at these books. The pictures in here are really nice, and I would imagine that the book itself is more like a coffee table book. It's got the late great Bernard Cribbins there, R.I.P. He's great in this movie, by the way. I knew he would be. He's great in everything that he's been in for me. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, so this has got some really good stuff in it. I would imagine that this book itself would be an amazing book. I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but I would say that for me, I'm happy with this one. So that's Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD, a collectible mini book. What a mouthful. Next up is the collector's edition booklet. Attention, attention, survivors of London. The Daleks are the masters of the Earth. I would say it in a Daleks voice, but that would be just a little bit too much, wouldn't it? Full of pictures, full of press stuff as well. I mean, these are things you could probably see online, but it's just nice to have everything in one bit. I love looking at this stuff. It tells you all about, you know, Daleks that you could actually buy and who had them, like everybody did in it back in the day. It was one of the things that you had when you were a youngster. You had these Daleks. So this is chock full of pictures of the actors and actresses in this movie. Great colours in there. as the movie has. So that's the collector's booklet, very nicely presented. Next up you have the poster. You have two posters here. This first poster is this one, which, to be honest, I think this is a really good poster. I'd love to have this on the wall. I think this is the original poster. It's very dark in its intentions. It does look like a more nasty film when it compared to the Doctor Who and the Daleks, which is a U certificate. This is the PG. It's got a bit of violence, and it's just sort of like childish violence, but still, it's a bit of a step above from what Doctor Who and the Daleks was. The poster is the cover, the newly commissioned artwork for the cover. That's still nice. That still could go on the wall. The good thing about this is, like it is with the other two, they do have two posters, but they're not reversible, so you can have both of them or four of them up at one time if you so wished. So that's a nice touch. Next up you've got the art cards. So the art cards are in black and white as they are in the other set. The movie obviously is in colour. That's a brilliant scene. That's one of my favourite scenes in the movie, in the two movies. That's such a great scene. That one as well, when they're trying to make Doctor Who into a robot. That's brilliant. Next up is the J card, sort of. Now this is great. When you took it off, you could put it inside the box. Now it's great when you can do that, because sometimes when you have to take these J cards off or you don't have them shown, they can go into a cupboard and it can vanish. I know that's happened to me quite a few times. What I've done is I've kept the sticker on here. I've put that was on the front of the box, or the front of the shrink wrap, which I had to take off. I put this on the back of here, which I've done with the other one as well. So I've still got everything that was in the set. So there's the special features there. There is some new stuff on there. I do know that I haven't got any of this sets before, which is great, because I haven't double dipped or anything like that. This is the first time buys for me. I must admit, when I watch these movies, I must have watched them literally 40 years ago. I haven't seen them since then. So they're quite fuzzy to me for what they were. But I do remember bits and pieces of them. I remember more of Doctor Who and the Daleks than I do of the Invasion Daleks.
Where's me ladders?
I remember more of the first movie than I do of the second one, but it's great to have this to be able to go inside the box. I do like that. And last up, which you do get in the other one, you get a coin, collectible coin. Now I think these are only in the first run of this editions. Now I don't know how much that first run is. I'm guessing something like 3,000. That's usually I can't get this coin out. I'll show you the coin because I can't get it out. That's the first side there. These coins are quite heavy as well. Really feel that you're getting your money's worth in. That's nice. So that's the interior of the box. There's a souvenir coin, the J card, the art cards, new artwork poster, original cinema poster, collector's booklet, collectible mini book, and booklet housing discs. So I watched this movie yesterday, and I must admit I had a great time with it. I didn't remember as much about this movie as I did about the first movie here. I must admit, I think I prefer slightly this movie. This movie's still great. I think they're great companion pieces for each other. So in the second movie, Peter Cushing apparently wasn't that well, so they had to write him out of quite a few scenes. So he seems to appear a lot less in this movie than he does in this one. This, for me, I think this one is my favourite movie, although this movie, they're both great. I can't take anything away from them. I think I've had a great time with both of them, and I can't wait to watch them again. Actually, they're very short movies, so they're fun to watch. Put them on in the morning and just sort of kick back and just enjoy what they are. I do think that they're not really canon. I don't think that matters at all. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I didn't know anything about them when they came out, when they were like on the telly all the time. I didn't have any notion to why they weren't exactly Doctor Who. You know, the TV series is different, but it doesn't matter. It's one of these movies, you can just join them for what they are. And I do think that if you are a fan of sort of 60s, 50s, hokum sci-fi, you will enjoy these as well, because there's not too much of the Doctor Who time traveling thing in here. He's not a Martian in this one, he's just a regular person who invented a time machine. So that's the difference, what they had to put into this movie. And I think it works. I think it kind of makes its own movies. It's kind of standalone from the TV series and not actually bought into it, although these two movies here are apparently adapted from the TV series, which actually I haven't seen these two serials that they got, which would have been William Hartnell. So the picture quality on here is absolutely sensational, I've got to say. Sometimes I think when I'm watching it, it's a little bit softer than I would like it to be, but I just think that it is what it is. It's taken from the original negatives. They've got it, and they've done a lot of work on it, these two movies, so I don't think they could have got this any better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link down below to two videos where it's got like comparisons on both of these movies, or from the previous Blu-ray, which I've never seen before, to these, and you'll see how different it is. I mean, I'm going off these. This is my first time watch for these for a long time, and I think these look perfect. But when you see the differences between this and the previous, I mean, it wasn't remastered too long ago in Blu-ray. It's like chalk and cheese. You wouldn't believe how much of a difference it is. Now, this movie here, it did seem to be more colourful because where they were, when they were on the planet Skaro, that the colours on there are like greens and reds and pinks. It just looks amazing. This one here doesn't have much of that in because it's on Earth in the future, but it still looks good. It's still got some really good Dalek interiors when they're in their sort of Dalek, whatever it's called, headquarters. And they do have this whole theme of this movie is when they go in the future, the world's being taken over by Daleks. And what Doctor Who and his companions have to do, they have to work out what the Daleks are wanting, because the Daleks have got a cunning plan where they're going to sort of like destroy the world, and they've got to find out what that is, and they've got to try and thwart them. So I'll leave it up to your imagination to whether or not they did that or not. But I've got to say that I just had a blast with this movie. I urge anybody who likes this type of thing, I think you'll have a blast with it. The extras are all great. I watched them all, and I think that they do complement this. And there was a few questions I did want to know about that whole why this sort of faltered, and why was Doctor Who not in it that much. I got them all answered in the extras. Great extras as well. I think some of them are sort of from a while ago, and some of them are from now, so they're all brilliant, and I do think that I had my money's worth, and I did find out everything I need to find out about this great movie. So to recap, I am so pleased I got these ones. They look great on the shelves. Okay, so let's take a look at those Weetabix cards. First up are the 1975 cards. Now this tin here was from my grandparents' house. Now I would imagine everybody had a grandparents who had tins for everything. Now this was a great, exactly the right size tin to keep these in, and I used to carry these around in school. That's how, I mean, they're not in perfect condition, but I remember I used to go swap them in school, because really that's what you could do. There was no way you had to eat the Weetabix, which I hated at the time. I used to crush them up and throw them in a bin, and then say, oh, I can't have some more, and they were thinking, oh, you must love Weetabix. So when this promotion ended, I kind of cut the line with them, and they were saying, oh, we've got like 3 million Weetabix for you, what are you going to do with them? I said, oh, I don't like them anymore. You know what it's like when you're a kid. So this set was probably, it wasn't full. You used to go and swap with your friends. If you used to get like, well, you used to get swaps in the playground. How many times did you do that when you were a kid? So these ones were released in 1975 as a promotion with Weetabix. And what I did was, like I say, I used to go and beg everybody. I used to beg me parents, me grandparents to say, can you please get us some Weetabix? I really love them. And they obviously cottoned on, but I got all the stuff. I got most of the stuff. And it was also the boxes. I don't know in the 1975 one, it might have been not 1975, but the 1977 one, that had like sort of like this thing printed on the back, which you could kind of make a game out of. And I was thinking that if I just kept them, I mean, I did cut them off, but I just put them in the cupboard and they vanished, hide them in the bin or whatever. I didn't. When you're a kid, you don't think about these things where you could, even if I just got like one box and just didn't open it, imagine how like amazing that would have to just say, look, here is a box from 1975. But if I had a time machine like Doctor Who, I know what I'd be doing right about now. Okay, so I'll show you the ones I've got. These are the full set. These are original, as you can see from the sort of the thing of them. I haven't went and bought any one. You can buy these off eBay, kind of. You can buy them in reproductions as well, which is fair enough. But I would prefer to buy. There is some in here that do need like updating, but I like the fact that these are the original ones that I got in the playground in 1975. When you would go up to your mates and say, have you got this, have you got that? And you would say, well, I'll give you 2 of them for 1 of them, that type of thing. So the Doctor Who at this time was Tom Baker. He'd just become Doctor Who in 1974. These is 1975. But I think some of the characters in here are carried over from John Pertwee's reign. So first up is Agador. I'm sure I'm going to get these wrong, but that says Agador. Now the good thing about these is they are double printed on either side. So I would imagine you used to stand these up, as you can see by the bottom. There is a way you can stand these up, and I imagine that's why some of these are a bit wrecked, because people were using them as a card. Now these used to come on a sort of big white sheet, and you would like pull these off there. So if you got them with the whole like pulled off ones on the sheet. I reckon they're probably worth a fortune. So that's Agador, not Agadu. Next up is Alpha Centauri. Some of these creatures, I remember them, but I don't remember what they're of. Next is Axon Monster. I do remember this one. Some of these used to petrify me as a kid. Obviously, they're a bit laughable now. Next up is a Cyberman. It was great when I imagine everybody, you don't get them these days, but you used to get them in your cereal and you used to pull them open and you say, oh, I've got this one, I've got that one. Ones you've been after for yonks. There's a Dalek. There's quite a few Daleks in here. I mean, there was a game, you can make a game of this. Don't know what the rules were. There's another Dalek. I don't know which ones in here would have been the harder ones to get. I mean, this is such a long time ago, I wouldn't have a clue. Another Dalek. That looks like a very old-fashioned Dalek. It looks a bit like the Dalek out of these two movies here. Another Dalek. I think that's like the type of Daleks I would have actually had when I was a kid, as a toy. And another Dalek. Wow. And another Dalek. Didn't know there's that many. We're through the Daleks. Now it's Draconian. I do remember this character. He came across a bit like the Master. Up next you get Doctor Who 1. There's Tom Baker with his scarf. How many people wanted a long scarf when he came out? I was one of them. Were completely useless, but never mind. We all wanted them. And they had to be multicoloured as well. Doctor Who 2. This was my favourite card by a long shot, and probably one of my favourite episodes starring Tom Baker. Giant Robot. I mean, I love that episode, but when you go back to it, wow, the robot is pretty useless in the fact that he can't move anywhere. But I was petrified with this giant robot because he was about 9 foot tall. Next up is an Ice Warrior. They used to freak me out a little bit as well. I think it was the eyes. Next up is Lynx, a General Lynx, I would imagine. I know this character's come back in the new Doctor Who's. Some of these have come back in the new Doctor Who's. Not many of them actually. Next up is Ogron. I remember this character. I don't remember what it came from. I need to get back to watching some original Doctor Who stuff. I'm going to watch some more Tom Baker stuff. Next up is Quark. Look at that. Eat your heart out, C-3PO. Next up is Sarah Jane. She was my favourite companion of Doctor Who. I thought she was absolutely amazing. Elizabeth Sladen, who sadly has passed away, but she was a great character, great actress as well. Next up is the one that really freaked me out when I was a kid. For God knows what reason, but I just didn't like them at all. It was Sea Devils. Wow. And they probably had a car light for the hands, and that was even more freaky to me. I just don't know what it is. I just was really petrified of these things. I just have nightmares about them. Next up is Sol. I couldn't tell you what episodes these came from, but I do remember seeing. I was familiar with all of the characters here. Next up is the Silurian. I think it was the Silurian Devil. Next up is White Robot. It'd be interesting to know, are these from John Pertwee or not? I mean, this has had got a bit of wear on it. I mean, I could buy a new one of these or buy another one, but I just wanted to keep these ones because these are the ones that actually I got. Now this one here is the one that's in the worst condition. It is Yeti. I mean, obviously I've stuck some sellotape over that. Some sellotape has been put over that because it's been probably ripped in half. that's just what you did. I mean, if I took it off, it would mutilate this, so I've just kept it on, and I could buy a new one of them, but no, I do want to have, I might buy a separate one just to see, have a proper one of it, but it's about keeping the ones here for me, and there's 1975 ones, and they all go in this tin, and they've lived in this tin since 1975. These are the tins I used to take to school with us, so I couldn't lose them or break them when I was on transit. So the fact is, I've kept them there. Now, isn't it funny, sometimes when you're a kid, you would lose these things, you would put them on one side and you'd say, oh, where's my Doctor Who cards? You just can't find them anywhere, and then you come across them years later and you go, oh, there's my Doctor Who cards. So that's the 1975 Weetabix Doctor Who cards. So then in 1977, Weetabix did the same thing, and these were the ones I went crazy for. I was collecting these like fury. Those are the ones that I got with the help of friends in the schoolyard, but I wanted to get these ones for myself. So I did manage to get the whole lot, but I think I must have had about 1,000 Weetabix in the house at one time. So this is definitely a game. You can make this as a game like you could with the other ones, but I'll take you through the whole 24 cards of them, and they will come in strips. They're effectively they're ripped off now, or you could break them off. And the strip ones, I wish I just kept the strips on, but I probably did play them on this game on the board. Don't know if the game actually worked, because some of these games used to get were just absolutely hopeless. So I'll show you the back first, TARDIS, and then you'll see the front, and you can see that the colours on here do follow on. You get them in strips of 4. And this was a code that you had to break. And what you would do is, I believe, so it said secret message from the Time Lords. Use this code printed inside the packet to read the secret message. It's just for you, not part of the game, on the back of the packet. So every strip had one of those on. Fieldmaster Steyer. Does that tell you a little bit about him? Yes. Hieronymus. So that's the first 4. Second 4 are Belal. I remember this character actually. Quite a good character. There's your code. Daleks again. I can't even remember this game, got to admit. Someone said to me, how did it work? I haven't got a clue. There is Davros. What a great character he was. Or is. That's your second lot. Next 4 are Zygons. Now they still appear from time to time. That's your code there. So I don't know how, I think you could probably work out online how these, what these codes meant. Crynod. Crynoid. Wirren. I remember this episode actually. The nearly Tom Baker one. Next 4 is Vogans. There's your message. Cybermen. I think the Cybermen in the 70s were my favourite way that they looked. I think they looked absolutely brilliant. And the last one on that one is Stigron. Next 4 are Daleks. I'd imagine if you hit a Dalek on this, that was you sort of finished, or going back to the start. Here's your secret message. Gel Guards. I do remember them. And Omega. Omega was a great character. Remember he had there was something about his mask which I don't want to go into because that's a spoiler, but Omega, yeah. And the last 4 are Vega Nexus. your secret code. Agado. Not Agado, Agado. I'm sure, was he in that first lot? Might have been. Maybe that's one of the rare ones that's actually in both. Lastly is Blow. What a name. What does it say about Blow? Frightening and powerful bodyguard of Queen Thora of Peladon. There you go, Blow. So does anybody else have memories of collecting the Doctor Who Weetabix cards? Does anybody have them? Does anybody have full ones? Does anybody have them that are actually all together? I'd be interested to find out in the comments down below. So, thanks for watching, you take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers!
It's good!